The warehouse was quiet at 11 p.m., just me and the hum of fluorescent lights that flickered like fading stars. I was finishing inventory reports when I heard Taryn's voice echoing from the loading dock where I'd left my phone charging. "You're so much better than him, Colt. God, I can't believe I wasted 10 years. Her giggle cut through me like a rusty blade. I crept closer, my work boots silent on the concrete floor. Through the crack in the office door, I could see her pacing, twirling her hair like some teenage girl. "No, he's working late again. Derek's always working late these days. Probably doesn't even notice I'm gone half the time." You'd think after 10 years of marriage I'd be the one getting the midnight giggles. Instead, I'm standing here like some pathetic detective in my own life, listening to my wife plan her next rendezvous with Colt Rainer, her college boyfriend who'd crawled back into our lives 6 months ago. I backed away, my heart hammering against my ribs. The warehouse suddenly felt smaller, the shadows deeper. This was really happening. My wife was cheating on me with that arrogant tech entrepreneur who drove a Tesla and wore designer suits to coffee shops. When I got home, Taryn was already in bed, pretending to sleep. Her phone glowed on the nightstand, 17 unread messages. I knew without looking they were from him. "How was work, honey?" she mumbled into her pillow. "Just peachy," I said, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "Same old warehouse drama." The next morning, Taryn dressed differently. Instead of her usual business casual, she wore a black dress that hugged every curve, paired with heels that clicked like countdown timers across our hardwood floors. "Big meeting today?" I asked over coffee, watching her apply lipstick with surgical precision. "Just the quarterly review. You know how Peterson gets about presentations." She avoided my eyes, checking her reflection in the toaster. "I might be late tonight. We're grabbing drinks after to celebrate if it goes well." "With the whole team?" "Probably just a few of us." The lie sat between us like a third person at breakfast. I wanted to grab her shoulders, shake her until she admitted the truth. Instead, I smiled and kissed her cheek, tasting the metallic flavor of deception. At work, I couldn't concentrate. Every forklift beep, every radio crackle reminded me of her voice last night. My crew noticed my distraction. "You look like hell, Malin," said Pete, my lead operator. "Wife keeping you up at night?" If only he knew. By lunch, I'd made my decision. I pulled up our phone locator app, something we'd installed years ago for emergencies. Taryn's phone showed she was at her office downtown. Normal, expected. At 3 p.m., I checked again. Her phone had moved to Riverside Drive, Colt's address. My hands shook as I stared at the screen. 2 little dots, side by side. My wife and her lover, probably tangled in his overpriced sheets while I managed inventory reports and pretended everything was normal. I left work early, telling Pete I had a dentist appointment. The drive to Colt's building felt like a funeral march. Every red light gave me time to reconsider, but the rage in my chest pushed me forward. Colt lived in one of those sleek downtown high-rises with a doorman and valet parking. Taryn's Honda looked pathetic next to his Tesla in the visitor's lot. I parked across the street and waited, watching their windows 20 floors up. At 6 p.m., they appeared on his balcony. Even from this distance, I could see her laughing, his arms around her waist. They looked happy, carefree, like I didn't exist. I grabbed a pen from my glove compartment and wrote on the back of a gas receipt. "Hope you enjoyed the ride. Next time, try not to park where your husband can see you. Yours truly, Derek." I folded it under his windshield wiper, then took my house key and dragged it along the Tesla's pristine paint job. The screech of metal on metal was music to my ears. For good measure, I pulled out my pocket knife and put a neat hole in his front tire. Walking back to my truck, I felt lighter than I had in months. Let them explain that to the insurance company. My phone buzzed as I reached my vehicle. A text from Mrs. Henderson, our nosy neighbor. "Derek, honey, I saw you at that fancy building downtown. Everything okay? Call me." Mrs. Henderson was practically the neighborhood news network. If she'd seen me, everyone would know by morning. Another text, this one from Taryn. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. I typed back, no problem. I've got plenty to keep me busy. The next morning, Taryn's phone rang during breakfast. She glanced at the caller ID and stepped outside to take it, leaving her coffee growing cold on our kitchen table. Through the window, I watched her pace our driveway, gesticulating wildly. When she came back in, her face was flushed. Everything all right? I asked, not looking up from my newspaper. Colt's car got vandalized last night. Some psycho keyed his Tesla and slashed his tire. She watched my reaction carefully. Can you believe people these days? Terrible, I said, turning the page. Probably some jealous ex-girlfriend. Her jaw tightened. It wasn't a girlfriend. How would you know? The question hung in the air like smoke. Taryn grabbed her purse and headed for the door. I'm late for work. That evening, she came home with a bottle of wine and Chinese takeout, our old Friday night tradition that we'd abandoned months ago. I thought we could have a nice evening together, she said, setting containers on the counter. We haven't talked much lately. We ate in relative silence, the elephant in the room growing larger with each passing minute. Taryn kept checking her phone, typing quick responses when she thought I wasn't looking. Who keeps texting you? I finally asked. Just work stuff. Peterson's being a nightmare about the Morrison account. Another lie. Peterson had been on vacation in Florida all week. I'd seen his beach photos on Facebook. After dinner, Taryn suggested we watch a movie. She curled up next to me on the couch, her head on my shoulder like old times. For a moment, I almost forgot about Colt, about the lies, about the rage eating me alive from the inside. Then her phone buzzed. She grabbed it instantly, her body tensing. I need to take this, she whispered, heading upstairs. I followed quietly, stopping outside our bedroom door. I can't keep doing this, she was saying. He's getting suspicious. Mrs. Henderson saw him at your building yesterday. A pause. No, I don't think he knows for sure. But Derek's not stupid, Colt. He's going to figure it out eventually. Another pause, longer this time. I know you want me to leave him, but it's complicated. We have a mortgage, shared accounts, 10 years of history. I can't just walk away. My hand gripped the doorframe so hard my knuckles went white. Of course I love you, she continued, but I need time to figure out the logistics. Divorce isn't simple when you've built a whole life with someone. I crept back downstairs, my mind racing. She was planning to leave me. All those years, all those promises, all those dreams we'd shared. She was ready to throw it all away for her college boyfriend. The next week, Taryn announced she was attending her company's annual networking event. It's at the Marriott downtown, she said, applying makeup in our bathroom mirror. All the major clients will be there. Peterson says it's mandatory for the sales team. She wore her best dress, the red one I'd bought her for our anniversary last year. The irony wasn't lost on me. What time should I pick you up? I asked. Oh, you don't need to come. It'll be boring work talk all night. Besides, some of us might grab drinks after. Some of us? Just the team, unwinding after all that corporate schmoozing. I knew she was lying, but I played along. Have fun. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. She kissed my cheek, her lips cold against my skin. I'll try to be good. After she left, I sat in my truck outside the Marriott for 2 hours, watching the entrance. Taryn never showed up. The networking event was real. I could see her co-workers through the lobby windows, but my wife was somewhere else entirely. I drove to Colt's building. Sure enough, her Honda was in the visitor's lot again. This time, I didn't leave a note. Instead, I took photos. Her car, his building, the timestamp on my phone showing she was supposed to be at a work function. Evidence for later. When Taryn came home at midnight, she reeked of expensive cologne and wine. How was the networking? I asked from the couch. Exhausting. Peterson made us stay until the bitter end. She kicked off her heels and headed upstairs. I'm going to shower and go to bed. Did you get any good leads? She paused on the staircase. A few possibilities. Nothing concrete yet. The next morning, I called Peterson's office. His secretary told me he'd been in meetings all day and hadn't attended any networking events. Strike two. That weekend, Jenna Morrison stopped by. She'd been my friend since high school, one of the few people who'd stayed in touch through the years. Jenna had always been direct, sometimes brutally honest, but I trusted her opinion more than anyone's. You look like garbage, Derek, she said, settling into our kitchen with a cup of coffee. What's going on? I told her everything. The phone calls, the lies, the mysterious absences. Jenna listened without interruption, her expression growing darker with each detail. How long has this been going on? She asked when I finished. Officially, about 6 months, but looking back, probably longer. And you haven't confronted her? What's the point? She'll just deny it or make excuses. I need proof. Jenna leaned forward, her eyes intense. Derek, you're my friend, so I'm going to give it to you straight. You've got two choices here. Either grow a spine and fight for your marriage, or get even and move on. But this middle ground you're living in, it's ruining you. What do you mean, get even? A slow smile spread across her face. You're a smart guy. Figure it out. That night, after Taryn went to bed, I opened our laptop and started digging. Social media, phone records, credit card statements, everything I could access with our shared accounts. What I found made me freeze. Dinner receipts from restaurants I'd never been to, hotel charges from business trips I didn't know she'd taken, photos on her cloud storage that she'd never shown me, pictures of her and Colt at concerts, museums, romantic dinners. They'd been living a whole secret life together while I worked overtime to pay our mortgage. The final straw came when I found her group chat with her girlfriends. Months of messages, all about her affair with Colt. They talked about me like I was some pathetic obstacle to her happiness. Derek's so clueless, she'd written. I could probably bring Colt home for dinner and he wouldn't notice. Why don't you just leave him? Her friend Rachel had replied. It's complicated. Derek's not exactly husband material, but he's stable. Good credit, steady job, pays the bills on time. Colt's exciting, but he's also risky. What if it doesn't work out? So, you're keeping Derek as backup? Something like that. I know it sounds awful, but I need to be practical. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. 10 years of marriage, and I was just her backup plan. Her safety net while she played house with her real love. That's when I stopped being the victim and started planning my revenge. Monday morning, I called in sick to work and drove to the public library. I needed internet access that couldn't be traced back to me, and I needed to research everything about Colt Rainer. His company, Rainer Tech Solutions, was impressive on paper, but shaky underneath. Online reviews complained about missed timelines and overcharging. His business partner, Marcus Webb, had a history of cutting corners and abandoning projects when they got complicated. More interesting was Colt's personal life. He was married to Maya Rainer, a quiet woman who rarely appeared in his social media posts. While Colt flaunted his success online, Maya seemed to live in his shadow. I found Maya's Facebook profile. She worked as a librarian and volunteered at animal shelters. Her posts were thoughtful, genuine, the complete opposite of her husband's flashy lifestyle updates. Looking through her photos, I noticed something telling. In every picture with Colt, Maya looked uncomfortable. Forced smiles, tense body language, like she was performing rather than enjoying herself. I wondered if Maya knew about her husband's affair with my wife. That evening, I tested a theory. I created a fake email account and sent Maya a simple message. I think we should talk about our spouses. Coffee tomorrow at Barnes & Noble on 5th Street, 2 p.m. I'll be wearing a blue baseball cap. I signed it, A Concerned Friend, and hit send before I could change my mind. The next day, I arrived at Barnes & Noble 30 minutes early, positioning myself where I could watch the entrance. At exactly 2 p.m., a petite woman with dark hair walked in, scanning the crowd nervously. Colt Rainer looked even smaller in person, almost fragile. She wore jeans and a sweater that had seen better days, a stark contrast to the designer clothes Colt always showcased online. I approached her carefully. "Maya, I'm Derek. Thank you for coming." Her eyes widened with recognition. "You're Taryn's husband. And you're Colt's wife. I think we have more in common than either of us realized." We found a quiet corner table, and I laid out everything I knew. The phone calls, the lies, the secret meetings. Maya listened without interruption, her face growing paler with each detail. "How long have you known?" she asked when I finished. "Officially, a few weeks. Unofficially, probably months. What about you?" Maya stared into her coffee cup. "I've suspected for a while. Colt's been different lately, more secretive, more critical of everything I do. He keeps talking about how we've grown apart, how maybe we made a mistake getting married so young. But you didn't know it was Taryn?" "Not until your email, but it makes sense now. All those networking events and client dinners that ran so late. He even bought new cologne last month, said his old one was too mature." We sat in silence for a moment, two betrayed spouses processing the destruction of our marriages. "What do you want to do about it?" I asked. Maya looked up, and I saw something dangerous flicker in her eyes. "I want them to pay, both of them." I was hoping you'd say that. Over the next hour, we planned our strategy. Maya had access to Colt's business accounts and knew about his questionable financial practices. I had evidence of Taryn's lies and access to her social media accounts. "There's something else," Maya said as we prepared to leave. "Colt's business is in trouble. They lost their biggest client last month, and Marcus has been talking about dissolving the partnership. Colt's been putting on a show, but he's basically broke. So he's using Taryn for emotional support while his world falls apart?" "Probably. And she's using you for financial stability while she plays house with him. They deserve each other." That night, I put our plan into motion. Using Taryn's laptop while she showered, I accessed her cloud storage and downloaded everything. Photos, videos, text message backups, years of evidence that painted a clear picture of her double life. I also found something interesting in her recent searches. How to file for divorce in Ohio and dividing assets in marriage dissolution. She was already planning her exit strategy. The next morning, Taryn announced she was taking a long weekend to visit her sister in Cleveland. "Sarah's going through a rough patch with her boyfriend," she explained, packing her overnight bag. "She needs some sister time." I knew Sarah was actually in Mexico on vacation. I'd seen her Instagram posts from Cancun. "That's sweet of you," I said. "Give her my love." "I will. Don't wait up on Friday night. We'll probably stay up late talking." After Taryn left, I called Maya. "Phase 1 is go. They're probably planning a romantic weekend while the spouses are out of the way." "Perfect." I told Colt I was visiting my mother upstate. He seemed relieved to have me gone. "Meet me at the coffee shop on Elm Street in an hour. We need to discuss timing." Maya arrived looking determined, carrying a manila folder thick with documents. "I've been busy," she said, sliding the folder across the table. "Financial records, business correspondence, some very interesting emails between Colt and Marcus about their creative accounting practices." I flipped through the papers, impressed. This is enough to destroy his business reputation. That's the idea. But I want to do this right. No illegal activity, nothing that could get us in trouble, just good old-fashioned public humiliation. I like the way you think. We spent the next 2 hours refining our plan. Maya would handle Colt's professional destruction while I focused on Taryn's social and career consequences. The key was coordination. We needed to hit them simultaneously so they couldn't warn each other or prepare damage control. "There's one more thing," Maya said as we prepared to leave. Taryn's company is having their annual client appreciation party next Friday. It's a big deal. All the major accounts, local business leaders, even some media coverage. How do you know about that? Colt mentioned it, said he might try to network there, maybe drum up some business for his failing company. A slow smile spread across my face. That's perfect. Public venue, professional consequences, maximum humiliation. Exactly what they deserve. That weekend, while Taryn was supposedly consoling her sister and Colt was pretending to miss his wife, Maya and I put the finishing touches on our revenge plan. We met at a diner outside town, spreading documents across a corner booth like generals planning a battle. I've prepared packages for Colt's biggest clients, Maya said, organizing manila envelopes. Financial irregularities, missed timelines, customer complaints, everything they need to know about Rainer Tech Solutions. And I've got Taryn's social media accounts ready to go. Screenshots of her messages, photos of her and Colt together, even some video clips she took of their romantic dinners. Maya raised an eyebrow. Video clips? Apparently she's been documenting their relationship like some kind of love story. There's one where she's talking about how much better Colt is in bed than her boring husband. That's disgusting. That's evidence. By the time we're done, everyone in their professional and social circles will know exactly what kind of people they are. We synchronized our watches like spies in a movie. Friday at 7 p.m., during the peak of Taryn's company party, we would unleash everything simultaneously. Are you ready for this? Maya asked as we prepared to leave. I've been ready since the night I heard her laughing about me on the phone. Good, because after Friday there's no going back. Their reputations, their careers, their social standing, it'll all be destroyed. I thought about Taryn's group chat messages, about being called her backup plan, about 10 years of marriage being treated like a convenience rather than a commitment. They made their choice, I said. Now they get to live with the consequences. Friday evening arrived with unseasonable warmth, as if the weather itself was conspiring to make Taryn's company party a memorable event. I dressed carefully, dark slacks, button-down shirt, my best shoes. If I was going to destroy my wife's life, I wanted to look respectable doing it. Maya met me in the parking garage beneath the Marriott, carrying a laptop bag and wearing a determined expression. Ready? She asked. Let's burn it all down. The party was already in full swing when we arrived. Taryn's company had rented the rooftop terrace, and the place buzzed with conversation, clinking glasses, and networking small talk. I spotted Taryn immediately. She wore the black dress from her fake networking event, laughing with a group of clients near the bar. Colt stood beside her, his hand resting possessively on her lower back. They looked like a couple, comfortable and intimate in a way that made my stomach turn. There they are, Maya whispered, playing happy couple while their spouses sit at home. Not for much longer. We positioned ourselves near the presentation area, where a large screen was set up for the evening's client appreciation slideshow. Maya opened her laptop and connected to the hotel's Wi-Fi while I approached the AV technician. "Excuse me," I said, flashing my most charming smile. "I'm with the Peterson Group. We have a last-minute addition to tonight's presentation." The young man looked uncertain. "I'd need approval from—" "Mr. Peterson's tied up with the Morrison account representatives," I interrupted, gesturing toward a group of suits across the room. "He asked me to handle the technical details. Just need to add a few slides to the end of the current presentation." Maya appeared beside me, laptop in hand. "Here's the file. It'll only take a minute to upload." The technician glanced around nervously, then shrugged. "I guess it's okay. Just don't mess with the timing." Wouldn't dream of it. While Maya handled the technical upload, I excused myself to use the restroom and made a quick stop at the bar. "Excuse me," I said to the bartender, a friendly woman with purple hair. "I'm supposed to make an announcement later, but the microphone system looks complicated. Could you help me figure it out?" "Sure thing. You just flip this switch and speak into the mic, but wait for a break in the music or nobody will hear you." Perfect, thanks. I returned to Maya, who gave me a subtle thumbs up. Everything was in place. At 8:30, the formal presentation began. Peterson took the stage, thanking clients and highlighting the company's achievements over the past year. Taryn beamed from the audience, probably imagining her future with Colt once she divorced her backup plan husband. As Peterson's presentation concluded, Maya nodded at me. It was time. I walked confidently to the microphone, my heart hammering but my expression calm. Ladies and gentlemen, before we conclude tonight's festivities, I have a special presentation about the importance of honesty in business relationships. The crowd murmured, confused but polite. Peterson frowned from the side of the stage, clearly not recognizing me. My name is Derek Mallon, and I'm here tonight because my wife, Taryn Mallon, works for this outstanding company. I gestured toward Taryn, whose face had gone white. Colt grabbed her arm, whispering urgently in her ear. Taryn and I have been married for 10 wonderful years, I continued, my voice carrying clearly through the sound system. In that time, I've learned so much about partnership, trust, and the importance of transparency. Maya clicked a button on her laptop. The presentation screen lit up with a photo of Taryn and Colt kissing on his balcony. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Peterson stepped forward, but I kept talking. For example, I've learned that when your wife says she's working late, she might actually be working on something else entirely. Another click. Screenshots of Taryn's text messages filled the screen, including her comments about keeping me as her backup plan. And when she says she's attending a networking event, she might be networking in ways you didn't expect. More photos flashed across the screen. Taryn and Colt at restaurants, hotels, intimate moments they documented like trophies. The crowd was riveted now, some people pulling out phones to record the spectacle. Taryn pushed through the crowd toward the stage, her face a mask of rage and humiliation. "Derek, stop this right now," she screamed. "Why? Isn't this what you wanted? To go public with your relationship?" I gestured to the screen, where a video clip was now playing. Taryn talking about how much better Colt was than her boring husband. Colt tried to reach the AV equipment, but Maya stepped in his path. "I wouldn't do that," she said loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. "You might not want to see what comes next." "Maya? What are you doing here?" Colt's confusion was evident. "Supporting my new friend Derek. Did you know your girlfriend has been rating your performance compared to her husband's? The reviews are mixed." The final batch of screenshots showed Taryn's group chat messages, including her detailed complaints about both men's bedroom skills and her strategy for keeping me around until she was sure about Colt. By now, the entire party had devolved into chaos. Some guests were recording everything on their phones, others were leaving in embarrassment, and Peterson was shouting at security to cut the power. But the damage was done. Every major client, every business partner, every professional contact in Taryn's world had seen the evidence of her deception. "Ladies and gentlemen," I said into the microphone before security could reach me, "let this be a lesson about the importance of honesty in all your relationships, personal and professional." I walked calmly off the stage and through the crowd, Maya beside me. Behind us, Taryn was sobbing while Colt argued with Peterson, trying to salvage some dignity from the wreckage. We made it to the elevator before hotel security caught up, but by then it didn't matter. The show was over, and the audience had seen everything they needed to see. "Phase 2? Maya asked as the elevator doors closed. "Phase 2. While we'd been destroying their reputations upstairs, Maya had arranged for the second wave of our revenge to hit simultaneously. The packages she'd prepared were being delivered to Colt's business contacts, complete with evidence of his company's financial irregularities and questionable practices. By morning, both Taryn and Colt would find their professional lives in ruins, their social media accounts flooded with comments from people who'd witnessed the evening's revelations. "Do you think we went too far?" Maya asked as we reached the parking garage. I thought about 10 years of marriage, about being called someone's backup plan, about all the lies and deception and casual cruelty I'd endured. They made their choice, I said. They chose to humiliate me in private. I just returned the favor in public. Maya smiled, and for the first time since I'd met her, she looked genuinely happy. You know what the best part is? She said. Tomorrow, when they try to comfort each other, they'll have nothing left to offer. No money, no reputation, no future prospects. Just two selfish people who destroyed everything for a relationship that was built on lies. As we walked to our cars, my phone buzzed with notifications. The videos from tonight's party were already spreading on social media, tagged with Taryn's name and company. Her career in sales was over. Colt's business was finished. Their secret relationship was now public knowledge, documented and shared for the world to see. What will you do now? Maya asked. File for divorce, sell the house, start over somewhere they can't follow me. Sounds lonely. I looked at this woman who'd helped me orchestrate the perfect revenge, who'd risked her own reputation to expose the truth about our cheating spouses. Maybe it doesn't have to be. Maya's smile widened. I was hoping you'd say that. 3 weeks after the party, I sat in my lawyer's office reviewing the final divorce papers. The fallout had been swift and merciless, exactly as Maya and I had planned. Taryn had been fired the Monday following her public humiliation. Peterson cited conduct detrimental to company reputation and violation of professional standards. The video clips from the party had gone viral locally, making her unemployable in the sales industry. Colt's business had collapsed even faster. His clients had pulled their contracts after receiving Maya's evidence packages, and Marcus Webb had dissolved their partnership to protect his own reputation. Rainer Tech Solutions was now just an empty office and a pile of unpaid bills. Your wife's attorney is pushing for alimony, my lawyer explained, sliding documents across his mahogany desk. She claims she's unemployable due to your actions at the party. I laughed, a sound without humor. She's unemployable because she got caught cheating and lying to clients. That's not my fault. Legally, you're correct. The evidence of adultery eliminates any alimony claims in Ohio. She'll get half the house value and her personal belongings, nothing more. What about her lawyer's argument that I orchestrated a malicious attack on her reputation? Hard to prove malice when you only presented factual evidence. Screenshots of her own messages, photos she took herself, videos she recorded voluntarily. You didn't fabricate anything or break any laws. The legal system, it turned out, didn't care about revenge, only about facts. And the facts were simple. Taryn had cheated, lied, and documented her own deception. I'd simply made that documentation public. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. Coffee after your meeting? I have news about Colt. I typed back, good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. See you at our usual spot. Our usual spot had become a small cafe near the lake, far from the downtown area where we might run into our former spouses. Maya and I had been meeting regularly since the party, initially to coordinate the legal aftermath of our revenge, but increasingly just to enjoy each other's company. She was waiting when I arrived, looking relaxed in jeans and a sweater. The stress lines that had marked her face during her marriage to Colt were fading, replaced by something that looked like peace. How did the lawyer meeting go? She asked as I joined her at our corner table. Better than expected. Taryn gets half the house value and nothing else. No alimony, no ongoing support, no claims on my pension or savings. That's wonderful. You can finally close this chapter. What about your news? Maya's expression grew serious. Colt came by the house yesterday. He's broke, Maya. Completely broke. Lost the apartment, sold his car, moved back in with his parents. And he wants you back? Desperately. He was crying, begging me to forgive him, promising he'd changed. Said the affair with Taryn was just a midlife crisis. that he realized I was the only woman he'd ever truly loved. I felt an unexpected surge of protectiveness. What did you tell him? I told him the truth, that I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than spend another day married to a man who treated me like a convenience. Good for you. There's more. He knows we've been spending time together. He accused me of having an affair with you, said it was hypocritical for me to judge him when I was doing the same thing. I leaned forward, studying her face. What did you say to that? I said there was a difference between finding comfort with someone after your marriage was over and cheating while you were still pretending to be faithful. Is that what this is? Comfort? Maya reached across the table and took my hand. I don't know what this is, Derek. I know I enjoy your company. I know you make me laugh for the first time in years. I know you treated me with more respect in 3 weeks than Colt did in 5 years of marriage. But we both just got out of marriages that ended in spectacular fashion. Maybe we should take things slow, make sure we're not just rebounds for each other. She was right, of course. The smart thing would be to focus on our divorces, our careers, our individual healing. But sitting across from this woman who'd helped me reclaim my dignity, I couldn't bring myself to care about smart. What if we're not rebounds? I asked. What if we're just two people who found each other at exactly the right time? Maya's smile was answer enough. That evening, I drove past my old house one last time before the real estate agent put up the "for sale" sign. Taryn's car was in the driveway, along with a beat-up sedan I didn't recognize. Through the living room window, I could see her packing boxes, her movements sharp with frustration. The sedan probably belonged to one of her friends, helping her move out before the house sale was finalized. My phone rang as I sat watching the house where I'd spent 10 years of my life. Derek? Taryn's voice was small, defeated. Can we talk? We're talking now. I mean in person, please. I know you hate me, but I need to explain. Explain what? That you're sorry you got caught? That you didn't mean for me to find out? That it was all a big misunderstanding? Silence on the other end. There's nothing to explain, Taryn. You made your choice. You chose Colt, chose to lie to me for months, chose to treat our marriage like a backup plan while you played house with someone else. I never meant to hurt you. You meant exactly to hurt me. You just didn't mean to get caught doing it. Derek, please. I know I screwed up, but we had 10 good years. Doesn't that count for something? I looked at the house again, remembering the dreams we'd shared, the plans we'd made, the future we'd imagined together. All of it felt like someone else's life now. It counted for something, I said, right up until you decided it didn't. I hung up and drove away, not looking back. A month later, Maya and I took a weekend trip to the coast. Nothing romantic, just two friends who needed a break from the wreckage of their former lives. We rented separate rooms, walked on the beach, talked about everything except our ex-spouses. On Sunday morning, as we packed to leave, Maya knocked on my hotel room door. I have something for you, she said, holding out a manila envelope. Inside were photos, not the devastating evidence we'd used for our revenge, but older pictures. Taryn and Colt together at various events over the past 2 years, always careful to look like casual friends rather than lovers. Where did you get these? Colt's phone. I found them when I was gathering evidence for the divorce. Look at the dates. I studied the timestamps. The earliest photo was from our anniversary dinner 2 years ago. While I'd been in the restroom, Taryn had apparently taken a selfie with Colt at the bar. They've been planning this for years, Maya said quietly. The affair, the eventual divorces, their future together. We were never people to them, Derek. We were just obstacles. I stared at the photos, feeling the last remnants of guilt about our revenge evaporate. Why are you showing me this now? Because I wanted you to know that everything we did was justified. They didn't just cheat. They systematically destroyed our marriages while pretending to be innocent. And now? Now they have each other, and they're welcome to it. Two selfish, dishonest people who deserve exactly what they got. We drove home in comfortable silence, the weight of the past finally lifting from our shoulders. Our ex-spouses had made their choice, and we'd made ours. The difference was that our choice had consequences we were proud of. 6 months later, Maya and I were having dinner at a restaurant downtown when Taryn walked in with Colt. They looked tired, older, worn down by the financial and social consequences of their exposed affair. Taryn saw me first, her face going pale. She whispered something to Colt, who turned to look at our table with undisguised hatred. "Should we leave?" Maya asked quietly. "Why? We have as much right to be here as they do." Taryn approached our table hesitantly, leaving Colt standing by the hostess station. "Derek, she began. "Taryn." I nodded politely, as if she were a casual acquaintance. "How are you?" We're doing okay. Colt found some freelance work, and I'm interviewing for positions outside the area." "That's nice." She looked at Maya, then back at me. "Are you two happy?" Maya said simply. "We're happy." Taryn's composure cracked slightly. "I hope you know that what happened between Colt and me, it wasn't about you not being enough. You were a good husband, Derek. You just wanted something else," I finished. "I understand. And you got it." She looked around the restaurant, at the other diners who were beginning to recognize her as the woman from the viral party videos. "I should go," she said. "Probably a good idea." As Taryn walked away, Maya reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "The revenge, the public humiliation, destroying their reputations?" I watched Taryn and Colt leave the restaurant, their heads down, their future as uncertain as their past had been deceitful. "Never," I said. "They wanted to play games with people's lives. I just made sure everyone knew the rules." Maya smiled, and I realized that revenge, perfectly executed, doesn't just destroy your enemies. Sometimes it clears the path for something better than what you lost. We finished our dinner in peace, two people who'd found each other in the wreckage of betrayal and built something honest from the ruins. Outside the restaurant, as we walked to our car, I felt lighter than I had in years. The weight of deception, of being someone's backup plan, of living a lie, all of it was gone. Taryn and Colt had taught me an important lesson about the nature of betrayal. But Maya had taught me something more valuable, that sometimes the best revenge isn't just destroying what hurt you, but building something better in its place. As we drove home together, I realized that my story wasn't really about revenge at all. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my self-respect, and my right to be someone's first choice, rather than their fallback option. Taryn and Colt were welcome to each other, and to the consequences of their choices. I had something better now, something built on